So let's see, was it a couple days ago? I did a little headline video there. Californian city could file for bankruptcy this week, something like that. That would be the city of Stockton. And the Stockton city official, one of them, said, mediation with creditors fails. Next step, bankruptcy. No. Remember that they passed a law just 6 months ago, as a matter of fact, that forces any municipality to first try mediation with its creditors before going to bankruptcy. Now, before, you didn't have to do any mediation. It just was a simple matter of, hey, we're filing for bankruptcy, have a nice day. But they passed this law 6 months ago to say, well, try to go to mediation, see if we can figure out a way to get these people paid back. Which is just completely idiotic. I mean, it sounds good at face value because, you know, if you're the creditor, you're going to say, well, you know, it sounds good to me because I don't want to just get screwed out of this money. Let's try to work something out. Oh, okay, yeah. So, at face value, it does sound reasonable, you know. However, if a city is already qualified, just like a person, if you're qualified to go into bankruptcy, chances are, since you meet the qualifications, that also means there's no way you're going to really come to any conclusion of, okay, we'll be able to get some of these people paid back at least. No. If that was the case, you'd already be doing that before you went to bankruptcy. And you may be not qualified for bankruptcy. You know, when somebody qualifies for bankruptcy, what that is essentially saying is that, you know, a third party has looked at your finances, you know, your income coming in, what you owe on, etc. There's been a drastic cut, obviously, of income. Maybe you lost your job, whatever the reason, you just took a huge pay cut. Okay, you have X, Y, and Z bills to pay. We can clearly see you can't afford those anymore. Boom, you're qualified. So, the city, okay, let's play by the rules. We're gonna have a sit-down meeting over here at City Council. All you creditors, come on in, come on down. All you unions and the contracts we've got, come on down. The price is wrong. So, they had this meeting. Epic fail. Okay, we're back to bankruptcy. Now what? Okay, well, at least we tried. Thanks. Have a nice day. As if that was like not predictable. You either have money to pay or you don't, and you have a deficit. You've already cut city employees, including police, fire, etc., massively, big cuts. And as I said in the other video, well, they still had these contracts that guarantee a percentage of a raise or whatever. It absolutely guarantees raises every year for these contracted employees, also known as unions. And I think I said in my other video, yeah, sorry about your luck, because once you go to bankruptcy, those contracts are null and void. And in the article, it mentions, well, a retired police officer says if they cut benefits, which is part of their new budget, by the way, that they've come up, their bankruptcy budget that they just passed, I guess, or they're passing on Friday, something like that. It's going to get passed. Cuts retiree benefits. Retiree as in you used to work for us, you used to be a police officer or whatever your title was. You had benefits after you quit because you put in such a long and great service with your fantastic pay, of course, and fantastic retirement benefits. Those retirement benefits are going away. Sorry about that. If you want benefits, you gotta pay for them yourself. And his reply was, I've got a brain tumor, and if these benefits go away, I'm in big trouble. And, you know, you feel bad at first. Maybe not even at first. Maybe half of you feels bad for that and say, well, man, that does suck. The poor guy had it, you know, it was an agreement, and now they're taking it away from him. That's not fair, and that's true, it's not. And then the other side is, well, what was his salary when he was working? Oh, interesting. What was his salary after he was done working, his retirement? Oh, that's interesting. And it had benefits with insurance, all of it, yeah. And the average person hears that and says, well, I wish I had that. I wish I had a piece of that, not even all of it. serves them right. That's the other side. That's the average person side. So you can clearly see there's them and there's us. The them is anybody that works for any government at any level. The us is anybody that works for a normal, regular job at any level, not government level whatsoever. And as you can see, there's clearly a divide. So again, you know, some people are thinking their heads right now, good, serves those damn unions right. They rape and pillage us. These guys get $50, $60, $70 an hour under contract. They get guaranteed yearly raises. Meanwhile, I've got to suffer. I haven't had a raise in 2 or 3 years, and blah, 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 and they've cut my hours, and not under that union contract, they don't. They can let you go, and that's what they've done. But those who still are around look at the rest of them and say, hey, sorry you slackers got cut, but I'm still here, and my contract's still good, and I need a raise this year, and I better get it because my contract says so. It's in writing. It's guaranteed. Oh, really? How did that go for Alabama? I can't remember which city it was in Alabama last year. I covered that story too, by the way, October 2011. Massive bankruptcy filing. They also had a little mediation with JP Morgan because JP Morgan was owed some money, and as I said then, it's going to fail. And they had a first set of meetings where they said that they just couldn't come to a conclusion. Give us a couple more months. We got to see about getting these guys paid. And I said, you know, there's a couple city council members here that appear to be working from the bank side, if you know what I mean. And sure enough, after they had this other meeting, the one guy I thought I didn't feel right about, he was one of the ones pushing to somehow make sure to see if JP Morgan could get paid. Naturally. And sorry about his luck and JP Morgan's luck. Ultimately failed, and they filed for bankruptcy. Now they're in recovery mode. So this city over here, why can't they do the same? As a matter of fact, like I said, they are doing the same, and Friday I believe it's going to be finalized. And as part of that bankruptcy budget, it said in there, remember those 2 things I mentioned last time in a video 2 days ago, one of them being they may have to suspend. I love the word suspend, as in it's just temporary. We're just gonna push pause for a little bit, and then we'll pick back up later. Yeah, okay. We're gonna suspend temporarily payments to people who may have filed a claim against the government, won in court, is owed some kind of restitution, etc. We're gonna suspend those payments. And I use in my example, you know, child care payments. Here I go again, not child care. Someone even wrote it in a comment in the other video. It's called child something, whatever. And I'm blank-headed again. I guess because I've never had to deal with that. You know, anyways, you miss those restitution payments, whatever you call it, you know. The court's kicking your door down via the police and throwing you in jail in a hurry. However, I wonder if you could put your own little uniform on with your own little fake badge that says, you know, citizen agent, you know, citizen bozo, more like it, and then kick the door down of City Hall or wherever this city council meeting is. Maybe they have their own little area, and go and arrest every one of them because they haven't made you your payments, which a court has decided you are guaranteed based off some kind of police abuse or some kind of city wrongdoing, etc. But under the bankruptcy, we're choosing to not make payments to you. And again, I don't know what happens in a scenario like that, and this goes across the board in America. What happens if they do file bankruptcy, which they're going to, it's successful, all you creditors, all you unions, go pound sand, you're getting nothing. Including the people who sued us over some other lawsuits, and we have been paying restitution this whole time. When you file for bankruptcy, does that actually wipe out those kind of payments? Or not? Or are you basically stuck paying those no matter what? From the sounds of it, sorry about your luck. even though you won in court and you got this big payday coming for the next 20 years of your life, you don't have to work anymore. On second thought, we know we just settled with you a year ago. You've only seen 1 year of payments out of 20 years coming. We're filing for bankruptcy, and by chance, what we owe you is actually included too. So could you imagine if a city just full of rogue cops, police force, city council, just the worst city you ever heard of, corrupt to the core, has so many lawsuits that they can't keep up with them, and these lawsuits keep winning for the people, keep winning, and the city keeps having to pay out and pay out and pay out, and when the city pays out, it's taxpayer money, so they're gonna have to raise the fees on things, or code enforcement, find some revenue to deal with that shortfall. And then they're gonna realize, man, all we have to do is abuse a few more people. There'll be a few more payouts, more than we can deal with. We'll just file for bankruptcy. And then all of those people we've wronged and all those lawsuits we've been paying on, immediately go away and we start over. The next question would be, if that's the case, and a city or municipality files for bankruptcy, it happens, okay, we're now in bankruptcy and we're starting over again. Can they refile for bankruptcy later if they are in an even worse situation because whatever happened, it just got worse, even though they don't have that debt anymore? Can they file again? Now, I know for people, once you file, you can't file again for I think it's a few years at least, like 5 years or 7 years, whatever it is. It's several years. Can a corporation or municipality, are they immune to that? Can they file again? I don't know. Don't have the answer to that. And to be honest with you, don't think it really matters. It's probably not on anyone's to-do list or worry about list anyways. This is just something that, there's been only a few that's happened over the last, 2 or 3 years. Bankruptcies, municipalities. There's no way that it's going to slow down anytime soon. There's no way that it's just going to become an average of what we've seen recently, and that's what we could expect. It's going to be a lot worse. There are going to be a lot more bankruptcy filings, a lot more housing prices due to all this being destroyed. You haven't seen anything. You haven't seen anything yet when it comes to housing prices. And I can only imagine the amount of people right now, the amount of houses on the market, which are like mostly bank-owned houses, and most of those bank-owned houses, they don't put them all on for sale at the same time, because they know if they do, they'll push the prices down even further, thus shooting themselves in the foot, because they need to sell those houses as low as they can, but still not be upside down themselves as a bank, even though they own the house now, because the person that they got it from quit making their payments to begin with. It was grossly overpriced then, so that whole thing collapsed. Now they're sitting on a bunch of property, and imagine if the prices go down even more. Of course, that means more people will also lose their houses, and because of job problems, obviously, and banks will get stuck with even more property. So they're going to have all this property, and you, the person who, let's say, has had a house for a long time, you still owe something on it, but man, you don't owe hardly anything compared to everybody else. You were never upside down, even for the last several years. You were not even upside down. And then all of a sudden, the bank puts a bunch of property for sale on your block, your neighborhood, and you and maybe 1 or 2 other people have a for sale sign in your yard, and no, we're going to sell this thing pretty fast because I can afford to take a beating because I don't know that much on it. Sure, I'm not happy with the amount of money I've had to put in this house the entire time to find out that now I've got to sell it and I'm supposed to make a profit, and I'm not, even though I'll make something because I owe very little on it. And then you find out, what's the bank selling that house for down there? What? How much did it sell for? Right, so that's your competition. Now the bank, who got all this property handed back to them, they can now sell it for whatever they need to sell it for, any price, all these multiple properties, and you have to compete with the bank. You only own one house, and you were a role model citizen. You didn't play the game and get equity out of your house. You didn't do that. So now you're screwed because of what happened around you and what the banks are now doing selling these houses dirt cheap. So this is not a win-win situation. This is a lose-lose situation for all parties involved, including the banks. But the worst loser of all is you and me, the guy at the bottom, including those of us who decided I'm going to play this right. Like I said, I'm not going to get out of control with this, and I'm going to have equity in my house no matter what. The day comes you want to fight. I've seen enough crime in the city. They've fired too many police officers. It's getting crazy. We're getting the hell out of here. Well, in your case, your property values are even, way worse than everybody else's nationwide. So we hope you are prepared to give your house away, basically. Or just rent it to anybody who's willing to rent it from you, which means the riffraff's coming into your neighborhood as you leave because you don't want that credit score to get affected. I can't. My credit, man, I got to keep good credit. I can't, so I just got to rent it. And I normally would vet these people and do background checks and financial background checks to make sure they're qualified to rent from me and that they didn't stiff any other landlords and that kind of thing. But, oh my God, I can't afford this payment plus my new house where I'm moving, rent payment. I have to rent it to anybody. And that's what you see time and time again. So a neighborhood that used to be decent or above average has now turned to a freaking slum. Break-ins, riffraff moving into the neighborhood, you name it. It happened to my parents where they were. All because people got to keep that credit score. And if I got to keep my credit score and I've already moved out expecting I could easily sell this house, finding out I can't sell the house, my money's running out, my savings running out, I've got to get someone in that house, I'll rent it to anybody. Anybody who's got, give me first months, last months, if you got that, you're in. I don't care. Matter of fact, just give me first months. I got to get something in here. And they did. And again, the riffraff moves in, devalues the property in that whole area even more. More people who live there, who used to be your neighbors, who used to like you, don't like you anymore because the riffraff you've allowed to move into the house. Not that it matters because they can't do anything. You're long gone. Have a nice day, sucker. And at least your credit score is good for now. But I can assure you, because you let the riffraff move in, that will not last. It will be an epic fail anyways. You lose anyways. So why did you waste your time destroying the neighborhood's value? Why? Because I had to keep my credit score as high as possible for as long as possible. Even though it ultimately led with your credit score getting destroyed. So, if everybody's credit score ultimately, or most people, is going to be destroyed, you can't possibly have any kind of system in the world that could deal with that. Because if you have to have good credit to get anything in this society, and almost nobody has it, sounds like you're going to have to reset things, doesn't it? So, when that reset's coming, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it will happen sooner rather than later. There's only one way out for all this debt. It is for it to implode on top of itself, where everybody basically either files for bankruptcy or the government realizes this is getting so devastating, we're wiping it out. We have no choice at this point. Because if it gets any worse, we're going to have a freaking civil war in this country and around the world. Let's deal with this debt problem. It'll be one of the last things they ever do, should they choose to do it themselves and not have it forced down their throat. But anyways, I may be out of town for the next 3 or so days, so I may not do a single video. I'm heading, potentially, I believe here, either late today or tomorrow, to Tennessee. Nowhere in particular just yet. Looking at some more property with my boss. And probably ain't going to do any videos, so I'll keep y'all posted. If I find anything, I'll let you know. You know, if we found something or not. Yeah, no, I'm not telling you where it is either. Other than, it's in Tennessee. Take care.